It's dark, sun has not risen yet, but this mountain is just incredible. Look at those clouds. It's just sort of, I feel like a fairy tale, really. Yeah, beautiful also to wake up to the sound of the roaring waterfall. Two waterfalls, one to my left and one to my right. All right, so I'm back for a second episode. This time I thought maybe I'd describe a little bit of the process of getting out of here, out of this beautiful fjord, and back down to the Strait of Georgia. So I moved once again. Um, I was at the end of Princess Louisa Inlet, and I moved down over to the waterfall that I showed in the last episode. And then today, after enjoying the morning there, I again fired up the engine and I motored down to this spot where I am now. This is the beautiful ease of mooring. You just come up and cast off your line. It's kind of hard to do it with one hand. And voila, we are ready to roll. Goodbye, beautiful waterfall. And it is a beautiful day. And we are going to head over to another set of mooring balls just over by that little island over there in the distance. The sun has been out today, and yeah, I've just been enjoying the day, doing some work outside here, and I went for a little walk ashore, and yeah, it's just been a really gorgeous day. So tomorrow morning, I am going to navigate out of the Princess Louisa Inlet back into Jervis Inlet, and so that involves going through Malibu Rapids. So essentially, in any where you have a narrow constriction of water, basically like a small channel, any place that happens in the ocean, for the most part, you get rapids that change with the tides, essentially. So in Malibu Rapids, that's exactly what you have, is when the tide changes. For example, if it's high tide and there's a bunch of water here in Princess Louisa Inlet, and it's a considerable amount of water. It's I mean, I don't have any idea exactly how much, but I just look at the size of the inlet and all of the water here behind me, and it goes up and down about 3 or 4 meters. And so the current, it becomes rapids, essentially like a river going through there. And in Malibu Rapids, it can flow up to 9 knots, which is 9 nautical miles an hour, which is very fast. Especially when, when I'm motoring, I'm normally going around 5 knots. When I'm sailing, I can go faster, but it's much faster than I can go, basically. So you definitely don't want to be going through those rapids with or against them, because they create all kinds of whirlpools, and they can very quickly sort of spin the boat around, so it can be quite dangerous. So what you want to do is go through at slack tide, essentially, which is when the tide is changing. So that is early tomorrow morning, just after sunrise. So after sunrise, I will pack up and I will slip my mooring, and I will head out down to Malibu Rapids, and then I will proceed to head down Jervis Inlet, which, as I mentioned in the last episode, is a long ways. I should calculate exactly how long it is, but I think the distance that I need to travel is close to 40 nautical miles. If you're driving in a car on a highway, that's not very far. But if you're traveling at between 4 and 6 knots, it'll take me probably 6 or 7 hours to get to traverse that distance. But luckily I have autopilot, so the boat will essentially drive itself. I will just be there to keep an eye out for any debris in the water or logs. Luckily there's not too many in the inlet, and then sort of constantly making course changes as we turn through the bends in the inlet. But it allows me to read or just sit and enjoy the scenery, or continue to do my work as I have satellite internet, so I can sort of continue to work during that time, which is very nice. And so I'm looking forward to it. It was a spectacular trip up. The mountains on either side of the inlet are quite incredible. So it's a day of beautiful scenery. Sure there's nobody coming through these rapids, based on the fact that I haven't seen anyone in the several days that I've been here. But it is courtesy or prudent to radio ahead when you're transiting a narrow passage like this, just because there's not enough space for two boats to pass safely, especially if there's danger of the current sort of like turning the boats as they pass through. So I am just going to go ahead and do that. Securite, 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 all stations, all stations, all stations. This is the 33-foot sailing vessel Jura, transiting Malibu Rapids southbound. Any concerned or opposing traffic, please call back on channel 16. Jura standing by. Alright, let's see how this goes. It should be almost exactly slack tide right now, so we should have a smooth passage through here. The tide is very high. It's right up to their pool there. They almost have an infinity pool. That's it. We've made it out of Princess Louisa Inlet through the rapids and are back into Jervis Inlet. And already, all of a sudden, there's just this sense of expansiveness. That being said, I'm still in a fjord. Jervis Inlet is still a fjord, and so I'm still hemmed in by giant mountains, but they are just a little bit further away, and the inlet itself is much, much larger. It's raining now. It's been raining for a bit, and hiding out in here. I have a bus heater, which is essentially the engine pumps water through this section, and then there's a fan and it heats up and basically provides a heater. So it's nice and warm in here, just because the fan is right down there, which is nice. And I can see sort of where I'm going, and keeping an eye out for logs, and I sort of pop outside every few minutes. But in general, I'm just staying warm and dry in here as we cruise down Jervis Inlet. It's been pretty calm. It's basically dead calm. A few puffs of wind, but not enough to sail. So I'm looking forward to getting back out down into the more open water and hopefully having more wind. It's been a lot of motoring, and I look forward to sailing again. It is a beautiful sunny day. I'm anchored just off of Hardy Island, close to the Strait of Georgia here, and happy to be back down out of Jervis Inlet, although I'm still sort of in the mouth of it. And yeah, just enjoying the sunshine. It's so nice. It's been yesterday and the day before it rained a bit, so it's so nice to have some sun again. Yesterday, after coming out of Jervis Inlet, I went to Egmont, and I tied up for the night at the government wharf there. And then in the morning, I hiked out to Skookumchuck Narrows, which is apparently one of the fastest moving tidal rapids in the world, which is kind of cool. As the tide changes, the current flows through Skookumchuck Narrows at up to 16 knots, which is pretty wild. Apparently people come from far and wide to whitewater raft in these rapids because they have standing waves when they're at sort of full swing. I didn't see them at full swing. I saw them when they were going about 6 or 7 knots. I had to get back to because I wanted to catch the tide going out of Egmont so that I could come here, and I didn't want to fight the tide or fight the current. But it was still cool to see, and it's a cool little inlet. And it's kind of wild to think that you can actually navigate a passage like that that can have such ferocious rapids, and that they change directions twice a day, and that at certain times you can actually safely navigate through them at slack water. Anyway, I'm enjoying a little bit of time here in this beautiful bay here on Hardy Island. It is incredibly quiet, and the water is glassy calm and still this morning. And yeah, I'm hoping for some wind today so that I can begin sailing south once again and get the sails up again. It's been a few days since I've been able to sail, so I'm looking forward to that. But right now, just content to enjoy the beautiful sun and the peace. It is quite beautiful out here. It is a beautiful day. One of the good things about long passages where you're just kind of sailing in a straight line for a while and you have relatively settled conditions is that it allows you to do sort of maintenance tasks or boat tasks, which there are always an endless number of tasks to do on a boat, especially on a wooden boat, but on any boat. So I am just repairing this shock cord that holds on the spinnaker pole. Is not really shock absorbent. It's not stretchy anymore. So I am just replacing it. So I just landed in Buccaneer Bay, which is between North and South Thornby Island. That's north over there, and this is South Thornby over here. I used to come here as a kid, and this I think was my favorite spot as a kid to come in all of the places that we went in the Salish Sea. I always look forward to coming back here because this is one of the few places on the inside of Vancouver Island where you have large, sprawling, sandy beaches. It's sort of this interesting phenomena, I guess, probably due to the sort of the place that the island is within the strait and the weather patterns that develop here, I presume. I don't know exactly why. Something that I will maybe look up later. And the other thing that I remember vividly as a child was the huge clay cliffs. And so it's sort of hard to see here, but right behind me there are these giant cliffs that go all along that side of the island, if I recall it correctly. It's been about 20 years since I was here last. So I'm excited to see how my memory holds up. And yeah, I remember taking pieces of clay and carving things into them with my pocket knife. And I remember this last time I was here, the bay here just being chock full of boats, like 100 plus boats. Whether it was actually that many boats, I don't know, but as a child it felt like that. It felt like it was just packed, which is kind of fun. It's like a bustling city of people out enjoying the beach and the water. I remember the water being so warm and being able to swim from the beach back to the boat and sort of back and forth. So I have a lot of really great memories here. Of course, I would only come in the summer, so this is the first time that I've been here in March, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out. It's I'm going to take advantage of the rest of the sun today and go explore the beach. It's supposed to be cloudy and rainy for the next week or so, so I'm trying to make the most of this gorgeous, cloudless blue skies and wonderful sun. So yeah, I'm very excited. So earlier I tried to record a concluding video to this episode. this time I'm using this little microphone with this fuzzy thing in hopes that you can hear and understand what I'm saying. Cruising here just under the Genoa, the nice breezy evening. I'm moving from Buccaneer Bay over into Smuggler's Cove to try and hide from the winds that are coming tonight. It's supposed to be gusting to up to I think 35, 37 knots tonight. So hopefully I will be nice and sheltered in there. But I thought it wouldn't be appropriate to conclude this video about cruising the Sunshine Coast in the so-called off or shoulder season without including some more of the cold weather this season is known for. It's still exhilarating especially to sail in these conditions and in this wind. It can be a lot of fun. The other advantage is that you basically have every anchorage to yourself. I think I've seen one other sail up in the last 2 weeks, and probably maybe one or two sailboats in general, and basically nobody cruising. For the most part, it's just commercial vessels and ferries and small skiffs that are commuting. Yeah, it's a great time, especially a lot of these anchorages that are very packed, very busy in the summer. If you enjoy the quiet and solitude, then I highly recommend cruising in March or anytime in the shoulder season. Anyway, I'm going to go and head on in. I'm just about to turn the corner here now. Behind me, that is Smuggler's Cove. So I'm going to go into Smuggler's Cove and find a nice, quiet anchorage, hopefully, facing into the direction that the wind is going to blow tonight, and hunker down for the evening.